Emmeline opens this act with a palpable feeling of dread about her chaos resistance. Quick question before we go any further. What's your least favourite act? This is definitely my one. The vitality and chaos damage comes completely out of nowhere if you're not prepared for it. That, and there's a lot of porting and backtracking. You run quests for Black Legion, Homestead, Ulgrim, Captain Somar, and Kaiman/Death Vigil. As if that's not enough, you have the random spawns to find for the Bloodbriar dungeon, the Royal Hive, the Homestead Farmers, the Seals of Binding, and, well, just the awkward map layout in general of the Bloodgrove. Yeah, I'm not keen on this act, and we have a lot of work to do, considering we only have 10% chaos resistance. For maximum safety, we need to be at least 80%. My test character was around 50% for this act, and she had a pretty tough time with the Void Touch totems and the Blood Grove and Dark Veil enemies, both the mobs and the bosses. I'm not jerking your Josephine here, I had a distinct feeling of dread while playing this act today. And I even had a particularly sticky moment with a certain individual. Into the mountain deeps to find passage to Homestead, and while we're there we can look for Dahlia Tavern, who's totally not dead by the way. Emmeline sets out to introduce the whole world to her force wave of friendship and stumbles on her first totem. I will be carefully looking through every piece of loot we find because I'm very nervous about our chaos resistance at this point, knowing what is waiting for us in the Blood Grove. The Mountain Deeps is a cool looking, unique area of Grim Dawn. It reminds me somewhat of Blackreach in Skyrim, lit with its glowing giant mushrooms. We find the exit before the Devotion Shrine, so leave to activate the rift outside, then enter to leave our portal to save us a few seconds of walking. Emmeline loosens her grip on the scythe carried high on her shoulder, and thinks back to a time before the Grim Dawn. A time when her biggest worry was ensuring the harvest would be collected on time. A time when books spoke of anything other than the ethereal monstrosities that fill her life now. She tightens the grip on her scythe, rids her mind of such fanciful childish thoughts. When you're going through hell, keep going. Ikrix the Raviner had laid this trap many times before in these halls. However, never did he suspect that he would meet his end staring down the business end of a scythe, paired with the piercing battle cry of his nightmares. We pop a potion before our health gets to 50% and heal through the bleed damage. Activate, funnel them into the hot gates,
Their numbers will count for nothing.
And force wave. Remember and interact with Dahlia's corpse.
Super kawaii.
Wait, that doesn't sound right. Inspect Dahlia's corpse? Root through? No, that's way worse. And exit the mountain deeps, putting 2 points into Oleron's rage, assigning it to her back bar, activating it and swapping swiftly back to our front bar. Front bar? Oh god, not again. We really need to stop doing that. That's going to get us killed. Onwards towards Homestead, and we drop a portal to come back here and complete the Legion quests in the Pine Barrens. There's nothing noteworthy here in these fields other than watching out for the aether ground and not lingering on it for too long. The Homestead Riftgate is overrun with ethereals, so we put an end to them quickly, secure the Riftgate, and port back to Prospector's Trail, blowing open the entrance to Pine Barrens with 3 dynamite. You should have around 5 or so dynamite from Cronley's area, but if not, it's easy enough to port back there and farm some. We'll be doing all 5 Legion quests in this area. The Manticore Venom, Mogara, who we will farm for her Fangs amulet, Old Bloodbriar, Gloomweaver and the Gargabol Tyrant. It's worth going out of our way for these in order to build some reputation with the Legion, who can sell us some useful augments later. Emmeline picks up the quest and adds her latest devotion point to Hammer, opening up Ulzad, which contains some useful physical damage buffs and resistances. Have I mentioned that I'm quite worried about Emmeline's chaos resistance? Briarthorns fall to our force wave of friendship in the Jagged Waste, and we pick up some Manticore venom. Onwards to Mogara. Eventually. I always get lost in this area. Well, I get lost in every area, really. Mogara has Emmeline hovering around 50% health, but we safely make it through the fight and get lucky finding her Fangs amulet on the first run. Physical damage buffs, a massive 8% cast speed, and +1 to all skills in Soldier. We will be equipping this at level 32 for sure. Next we go looking for the Bloodbriar lair and put 1 point into Warcry and Break Morale. All these 1 point skills will get a significant boost from Mogara's Fangs. We add Warcry to the front bar on 3, and thankfully this involves no bar swapping. Bloodbriar lair spawns in one of 4 locations and I can never find it without the wiki open. I got lucky on my test character and found it in the first location, but didn't get so lucky with Emmeline. This totem poses no problems other than filling our bags, so off to Devil's Crossing to look for upgrades and sell the rest. We find some useful looking leg armour and add it to our upgrade pile and resume our search for old Bloodbriar's lair. I'm way too far north, but too worried about my chaos resistance to notice. With our current resistances, this area is nothing to worry about. He goes down with barely a notch taken out of our health. This area connects to Forgotten Depths where we hunt for the Gloomweaver. We extend the Force Wave of Friendship and Ungoliax goes down as we heal through its damage. Northwards now for the Devotion Shrine, and we hunt for some Chaos Resist to no avail. Have I mentioned I'm worried about our Chaos Resistance? Northwards for our next Devotion Shrine in the Tyrant's Hold. Aha! Finally we find a vest with Chaos Resistance.
I really like the vest.
The Devotion Point goes in Throne for some resistances. We head into Tyrant's Hold proper and we hunt for Blood Feast the Ruthless. At this stage, none of the mobs here pose much of a challenge. Just watch out for the healers and make sure to target them first. We cut through them quickly with the Force Wave of Friendship. Emmeline clears space, making ready for the Blood Feast fight, and lets loose a blood-curdling scream upon sighting the fiend. His damage barely scratches us and we emerge victorious with a stack of loot. Back to the Pine Barrens to hand in our hunting quests hitting level 31, and porting to Homestead to take care of our business there. Back to Dead Man's Gulch to let Ulgrim know we have opened the Rift Gate, and let Colin know that we definitely didn't touch his sister's corpse. No, that's the worst one yet. Back to Homestead to speak with Ulgrim. I did warn you there's a lot of porting and backtracking in this act. We pick up Captain Somer's quest and ignore the Lost Cannons quest in the Immolation because it's too risky right now with our Aether Resist. We need to visit it eventually to complete the Port Valbury dungeon for our achievement, but we'll do it when we're at a higher level. Emmeline heads out towards Thornsbury Farm and takes care of some giant insects. Living the MMO lifestyle, we must destroy exactly 10 egg clusters for some reason. During our arbitrary quest, we pick up Dela's diary and definitely don't read it. 10 egg clusters later and we head westward for our next devotion shrine. We level up and put 1 point into Decorated Soldier for damage buffs and elemental resistance, Scars of Battle for armor absorption and bleed resistance, then spread the remaining points between Oleron's Rage and Squad Tactics. The Devotion point goes into Throne for 10% Chaos Resistance. Have I mentioned I'm worried about our Chaos Resistance? West again as we activate the Way Shrine and go looking for the entrance to the Royal Hive. I hate these random spawn locations. It can spawn in about 8 different places in the northwest of the map. We extend the Force Wave of Friendship to an Aether Warp Totem and quickly dispatch its contents, looking carefully for armor and resistance upgrades. The general rule for these Aether paved roads is never enter the Aether ground unless you can see an exit to it. This is not always possible however, so high Aether resistance is essential. Consider also using ointments to help you out and keep ready to use a potion. However, we find the Royal Hive relatively quickly and head inside. You see, we are on a diplomatic mission here to meet the Grand Viziers, whoever they are. We are on a mission to meet them and extend our force wave of friendship. As an extra, we're also looking for the Skittering Den, which contains a secret area where we can pick up our next devotion shrine.
Greetings, Lozacal,
says Emmeline warmly.
Would you like tea and biscuits? Or perhaps death?
What do we say to the god of tea and biscuits?
Not today.
Into the Skittering Den, and we head north looking for the hidden entrance to the Den of the Lost. We head north straight for the devotion shrine and funnel them into the hot gates.
Their numbers count for nothing.
Filling our bags with loot, so we port to Devil's Crossing for a long upgrading session. We finally put a Mark of the Traveller into our boots and trade out jewellery components for soul shards with a large amount of vitality resistance. Our resistances are looking pretty good at this point, apart from chaos. Did I mention that yet? We sell the rest and loot the devotion shrine, finding a nice vest.
I really like the vest.
And a helm with chaos resistance, finally. Put a devotion point into throne, then promptly return to the Royal Hive. There is an optional boss here in the Den of the Lost, but he drops nothing that we need, so we instead bravely run away. And continue our diplomatic duties. Inixil falls quickly and we unlock the entrance to the Hive Queen's lair. Clear the area, battle cry, and engage the boss. Ravna covers us in a poison pool,
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
which we stand in, and force wave of friendship, popping a health potion before 50%. The same procedure for her second form, and she goes down quickly. Now, northeast onto the Gruesome Harvest to take out the Ethereal Amalgamation. The boss arena can be challenging with low aether resist. Over 50% should be more than enough though. Clear the area, battle cry, then stand still and force wave. We clear the boss quickly and loot. In these aether filled areas, be careful where you drop your portal. If you drop it on aether, then you will take damage while choosing your teleport destination in your map screen. This can be very inconvenient, especially if you die. Completing hardcore mode is very difficult to do if you're dead. Emmeline turns in quests and becomes friendly with both the Legion and Homestead. She runs around picking up quests for the Bloodgrove and chooses the Order because we have to pick one of them. I have no preferences because we don't need any specific faction gear. We invest 1 point into Spirit so we can equip Mogara's Fangs. If you've seen me floating around 5 attribute points throughout this run, this is the reason why. We get a noticeable upgrade to casting speed and +1 to all skills in Soldier, and all of the skills that we 1 pointed earlier become much more powerful. And we equip Josephine Redden's ring. And their new helm for some extra chaos and vitality resistance. Off to Devil's Crossing to sort out components and get us ready for the Bloodgrove. Pierce and Bleed is low now, so we swap out our Mark of the Traveller for an anti-venom salve, and then put silk swatches on her chest and legs. %34% chaos resistance. Not great, but we have some grisly work to take care of, and you know what that means.
No rest for the wicked.
Into the Bloodgrove for my most uncomfortable point of the run so far. My test character had around 50% chaos resistance, so 34% had me a little worried. I might have mentioned that already. We will be avoiding all Void Touch totems higher than the first tier because of our low chaos resistance. Although this one looked easy, the Ancient and Forsaken can be a real challenge here and not worth the risk on hardcore with the current state of our build. We will be doing all normal tier totems in the hope of finding some more chaos resist gear. You can see even these cultist mobs are making our health dip more than some elites and bosses have so far. We enter the Bastion of the Order to say hello, level up, and Emmeline starts thinking about her second mastery. Opting instead to keep her focus on Soldier. Increasing her defensive skills, veterancy and Menhir's Will. In hindsight, we should have been putting more points into these skills as opposed to Oleron's Rage, but oh well. Northward into the Bloodgrove proper. Our aim is to get all the Legion and Order side quests ticked off here before we head into Darkvale, so we can increase reputation. This area can be a mess to navigate due to the way pathways will be blocked off randomly with each instance of the map. Our first insignia, and we are already close to Fort Harron and Stone Red Quarry, so we head north to clear those first for the Order, picking up the rift on the way. The Kaiman fanatics cause us no threat, and we push through them quickly into Fort Harron, hunting for Sister Bravna. I always thought she was involved directly in the Order quests, but while researching the script, it appears that she is just a bounty quest, and it's not required to kill her for the Order questline. Is that right? Either way, we extend our force wave of friendship and gain reputation for the Order. Exit and make our way towards Stone Rend Quarry for a target who is definitely part of the Order questline. However, my poor research shows through because she doesn't actually appear until you pick up the quest first. So we make our way through this aether infested land with uncapped aether resist for nothing. Good times. Well, not completely for nothing. Upon realising my mistake, I do drop a portal here so we can get back to the boss without travelling through the aether again. Venarius proves to be somewhat of a challenge, and we have to bravely run away to heal through Constitution and reset our potion cooldown. That's what you get for poor research, Sanavris.
I'm cooperating here, and there's no.
With that, those quests are somewhat taken care of. We head back into the Blood Grove to find the farmers, Legion insignias, and Malkadar's remains. Oof, oh boy, here we go. Get your popcorn out, it's Bolvar the Bloodbinder. He went okay on my 50% chaos resist character, but here, look how quickly our health drops once the minions spawn in. That would be a good time to bravely run away, or at least focus them down. If we look frame by frame, you can see how our build keeps us alive here. Frame 1, 1688 health. Frame 2 and 3, we drop down under 33% health, but still have a relatively high 1160, and I am very glad that we invested into the mastery bar for such a high health pool. Frame 4 is the important one, as we can see Menher's Will kick in and our health instantly jumps almost by 1000, with extra health regen effects getting us out of danger very quickly. I knew at the time how close this was, but to be honest, I was in shock about it and carried on as if it never happened. Watching this back now as I write the script, I am painfully aware how close this run came to ending, and I am very much in love with Menher's Will and very glad that I took it. Had I been playing even slightly more skillfully, moving out of danger sooner or healing sooner, this would have gone much better. With our build, we can afford to make all these little mistakes and not end the run. Our build is made for stupidity.
You're darn tootin'.
Oh boy, that was really close. After that, I am now extremely worried about Zarya, so yeah, let's see how that goes. At the next devotion shrine, we finally find some decent chaos resistance gear in the form of Kaiman's badge. 28% chaos resistance, and I start to feel slightly more confident about Zarya. But before that, we go looking for the imprisoned farmers and port them back to Homestead. Navigating the map, we gather Malkadar's remains and the last insignia. It's worth collecting extra insignias to save time in this area on Elite. We find a forsaken Void Touch totem and bravely run away.
Bravely ran away.
We are not touching that, no way. The RNG gods favour us once again as we find a fantastic upgrade to our shoulders, in the form of extra armor and more chaos resistance. And I start to feel like I can finish this act safely. Or, well, finish it at all, really. Northwards now towards the Way Shrine so we can hand in quests at Homestead. I would have ported there directly, but I'm keeping our portal open at Stone Wren Quarry for later when we get the quest from the Order. Somer tasks us with taking out Karos, who stands beyond the village of Darkvale. Before that, however, we update the Order on our progress, receive the quest to find Seals of Binding and reach level 35. Onwards towards Griever's Mill to clear it out. Emmeline is relatively safe throughout this area up to Darkvale Village. That is where the cultists and their chaos damage gather in greater numbers. Pay attention, Emmeline, watch your health, focus the crystals first, avoid totems. You'll be fine, pal. Notice how Emmeline skillfully avoids the totem. Joking aside, the skill of knowing when to say no is a valuable one to have in hardcore. The shrine falls quickly and we spend points into veterancy for some health regen, as I vow not to let our health drop low enough to need Menher's Will again. As for devotions, Ulzad has some nice defensive resistance options. The gear we picked up will solve our chaos resistance, so instead Emmeline opts for the more offensive-minded Assassin's Blade. I actually can't believe what I do next and take on Zarya without fixing our chaos resistance first, but I think I'm still in shock. We give our battle cry and rush in hopefully. But not stupidly, we have learned our lesson from Bolvar and focus crystals and minions quickly, extending our force wave of friendship, needing only one health potion. Opening our resistances, you can see Zarya applies a debuff to her poison and chaos resist, so hopefully you can see why I've been so concerned with it this act. It would have been much safer to port back and fix our resistances, but I'm aware that we still have the rift up at Stone Rend, and I don't want to spend too much time backtracking because this video's getting long, so... Yeah, I took on Zarya for the noble reason of looking after the needs of my viewers. Yeah, that's it. Definitely nothing to do with my stupidity.
Yes, that'll do.
More chaos resistance from these gloves. We barely see chaos damage at all up until Bloodgrove, and then all of a sudden we need it capped out almost immediately for Bolvar and Zarya. It catches a lot of players out, including me. We show our pass at Darkvale Gate, then port back to Homestead to hand in the Griever's Mill quest. Then to Devil's Crossing for some focused upgrading. Gloves for 9% chaos resist, shoulders for 17, and Kaiman's Medal for 28. And Emmeline breathes a sigh of relief that she is now capped out on chaos resistance. We transfer our old components and make an anti-venom salve for our gloves, and we are capped out on just about everything apart from aether. Looking good and a hell of a lot more survivable. We sell the rest and make an Aether Soul for our medal, bringing us to 71% Aether Resist. And we are sorted for the rest of Act 3 and Act 4 for that matter. Back to Darkvale to slay Karos. With these resists, we are safe to run through this fort, receiving very little damage. These cultists barely make a mark on us after those upgrades, and we pick the last seal of binding up for the Order.
Fear me, cultists,
says Emmeline arrogantly.
I will destroy you as soon as I can find my way through this awkward map.
Look at this, a Forsaken Void Touch totem. What we once avoided we can now take on without worry, and down it goes easily with no health potions. On to Karos with some excellent resistances, and we extend him the Force Wave of Friendship. Down goes the first form with no health potions. Second form, and we need one health potion at 50%.
I am a god,
cries Emmeline, exalted and delirious from the near-death experience earlier. My test character was 50% Chaos Resist here, and needed a few more health potions and a quick healing session through Constitution. So this fight went way better. We hit the Asterkarn Mountains Rift and port to Sorrow's Bastion to hand in our Seals of Binding quest. Then port back to Stonerend Quarry to deal with Noveria Stormfire, who finally decided to show up here. We extend the Force Wave of Friendship and she falls easily, and we find a very nice helm that will cap out our lower resistances nicely. Master Varuk is pleased with us, and we talk to the Keeper of Tomes, who signs us a quest that we will complete in Act 4. To finish off, Emmeline heads to the Depraved Sanctuary from Act 1. Now that our resistances are capped, this will be a very easy dungeon to tick off of our quest log. All the incoming chaos and vitality damage barely moves our health, and Emmeline runs screaming through the paper-thin opposition.
Get that up here.
We put our points into another defensive skill, Military Conditioning, and activate the Ancient Void Touch totem. Drunk with power and a lust for blood, we break the Chthonians with a piercing battle cry and one health potion. We perform our diplomatic duties on Salazar and extend the Force Wave of Friendship, and down he goes. With that out the way, we head back to Captain Somer and let her know that Karos is dead, and we agree to meet Creed at 4 Icon. A new helm, and we sell the rest of our loot. We achieve our goals for the act of being capped out on every resistance. Well prepared for Act 4. Check the description for a Grim Tools link of this build, and thanks for watching.